And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the day. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose is out on vacation, enjoying his summer. Hard-working co-host. The return of the champion, Carrie Champion, is here.
The champ is here.
I have a question.
The champ is here.
Go for it.
How many people did you ask before you asked me to be on this show today? What level am I?
We have a list of our favorite people, of which you are one. And you are very high on that list. And I had the luxury of not having to ask people because I feel like I'll put them in a spot if I ask myself. They might feel like they have to say yes.
You're right.
So Harlan, our producer, does the asking. It's a little less awkward.
It is, except for when he texts you 30 times. That's the weird part. And you're like,
listen,
you're like
hard. How many of those 30 were about coming on the show, though?
Only one. I'm kidding. I kid, Harlan.
Harlan's the greatest. Harlan's actually getting married. Did you know that?
Oh,
a couple weeks.
Harlan, who snatched you up? You're such a prize. You are a prize, my man. You are a prize.
We have a very good looking staff of Jalen and Jacoby, I have to say.
No, I'm not even being funny. You guys are all handsome. Seriously.
Very good looking staff.
Yeah, seriously. I have a story for you.
Oh.
Can I give
Okay.
Can I give it to you now or should I wait?
Oh, no, give it to me. But I've heard a little bit about this, and I believe that this is going to be the Don't Get Fired topic of the day. Reggie?
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
So you mentioned how, you guys are a very handsome staff, and you guys are. And we always have to keep it appropriate in this environment because that's just what we have to do. So I had dinner the other night, and as a journalist, I really go out of my way to not get into our colleagues' business. I didn't know Harlan was getting married, so congrats. So a young lady comes up to me, beautiful young lady, and she goes, hey, one of your colleagues, female colleagues, was trying to holler at my boyfriend, who is a football player in the National Football League.
Whoa!
And I was like, and I looked at her and I said, well, what do you want me to do with this information? And she goes, no, I essentially had to tell her on Instagram and also in person, you better keep that same energy, meaning you need to keep it moving. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
She's on her boyfriend's Instagram. They are a known couple. They've been together for a while. They take photos together because that's where you make it official on the gram. And apparently her boyfriend posted a photo that one of our colleagues thought was attractive. And our colleague, she shoots a shot. You miss every shot you don't take, right?
So here's the thing. Was it perhaps this young lady is a little too defensive of her man and that our colleague was just simply being nice and trying to extend a compliment to try to make people feel better? Or were they really trying to holler? Because it's a gray area there.
See, what are the rules? You're married. And if I was on your gram and you posted a photo of yourself, while you might be looking nice in that photo, and I posted an emoji, big eyes, or I posted something and was like, ooh, I see it. Whatever. I don't know. If I made a comment,
No. First of all, my wife doesn't read the comments. And if she did, she wouldn't even think twice. She doesn't care.
Okay.
Yeah. She's so far out of my league, you know what I mean? She's not worried about a thing.
She's like, you're lucky you're with me, buddy.
She's like, you are so lucky to even just have me return your text, David.
You know what?
She's not worried about me. And also, she knows that we're homies.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but
it's someone that she doesn't know. If it was someone that she doesn't know, or a UFO, or she has to ask who that person is. If it's you, she's like, oh, it's Carrie. I know, you guys are friends.
Yeah.
But if it was someone where she had to be like, oh, let me click on this profile and see who this is, and then finds out that they work at ESPN, and then it gets a little after. If I have any explaining to do whatsoever, it's not good.
Okay, you know what? I agree. Okay, so the reason why I agree with you on this for a few reasons, right? The reality is this. Apparently, this colleague has made other I don't know. I don't know. Maybe perhaps offers. I don't know what word to use. Apparently, I don't know what word to use.
This is definitely the Don't Get Fired topic of the week. I love this.
I don't know what. This is all according to the girlfriend, and I don't know. Like, I just don't know what had happened or had happened or transpired prior. What had transpired prior to, you know, the Instagram comments. I don't know. But whatever it was, it made her uncomfortable enough to feel like she had to respond just to let her know, keep it moving, you know? That's awkward, no?
I didn't even know that Linda Cohn was on Instagram.
You are crazy, because it was not Linda Cohn. You are, you know what, Jacoby? Linda's my dog. I would never tell this story. Linda is my dog. I would never tell that story about said Linda. But and if she was up there, you got to give it up for Linda. She's an OG. She's a true OG. If she's trying to holler, I got to be like, shoot your shot, mama. No shots
at Linda Cohn. All right, we got to hold on for a second. They're doing some tech stuff.
Okay.
That was good, though, Reg. Did you get it?
It's good now. Yeah.
Reg.
Yes.
Reg. You got it. No, you got it, though, right? All right, good.
Yeah.
Let me know. Blue screen couldn't work. She had blue in her dress. So.
All right, don't say the name, Carrie.
Okay,
Can we continue, Reg? Can we continue, Reg? All right, Harlan, text when ready. So, you know I want receipts, Carrie Champion. You can't come on Jalen and Jacoby and just be, one of our colleagues.
We work with a lot of people. We have
there's thousands of people that work. There's thousands of people that work here.
People who work here.
There's thousands of people that work here.
Yeah.
And someone tells me that I've got it in my head. I've got it dwindled down to just about 4.
You do not.
And I kind of think I know who this person is too. To tell you the truth,
you have no idea who this person is. We have thousands of colleagues. How could you whittle it down to 4 out of thousands of people who work for ESPN?
I feel like I'm gonna get an email. About this. And because they won't write you because they're scared of you, but they'll write me and be like, next time you guys are doing a sports and pop culture program, maybe not gossip about your colleagues' Instagram comments. And perhaps you could just talk about LeBron James going to the Lakers or what tier Joe Flacco is on the quarterback spectrum.
I felt like this was fun. I felt like
It's super fun. This is what we do. Here's the thing. The executives don't listen to the podcast exclusive.
Oh, good.
That's why we give them the Too Hot for TV content.
Yes.
Too hot for TV.
Yes, I'm with you. Okay,
and we always, you're going to say it now?
Yeah, well, I sent you a text. Do you want to know?
Yeah. Did you get a new number, or did I not save you?
This is a new number, so that's why I just said it's here.
Well, you know, the first question I'm asking you is, why'd you have to get a new number?
Well, you know, because I didn't pay my taxes, so I was running for them.
Oh, I found the data plan was much better with Sprint than AT&T. No,
yes,
you had a crazy person text you. That's what happened.
I should just block. I should keep it at block. But so, do you have an idea?
So, can I guess before you text me?
Yeah,
before you text me, I'm going to guess.
No, guess, because you already know. I think, but again, there are thousands of people who work here. How could you whittle it down to 4?
I got it down to 2. Check your phone.
Give me the other one. I only got one who came through. Only one came through.
Yep, I got it.
Yep, second.
Boom. Second try. I know the game, Carrie Champion. I know the game.
It's like...
I know the game. I know how people work. That's one of my skills.
You know what, though? That's crazy to me because, yes, that's just, well, you know, hey, you've got thousands of people who work here. You're pretty smart. God, I don't know how you were able to whittle it down so quickly.
It took me a second guess, though. Yeah. Let's move on before we get fired. Listen, we sent out a tweet that you're going to be on the show, and people were super excited about it. So we're going to give the people what they want. We'll be hitting up your tweets and your voicemails later on the show. But right now, it's time to give the people what they want.
So vaping is pretty popular right now. No ash, no odor, no brainer. But sometimes it's hard to find a satisfying vape that's simple and convenient. So Blue, who introduced vaping to the world, is now introducing My Blue. My Blue gives you all the satisfaction with none of the hassle. Just click and go. With MyBlue's easy-to-use one-click liquid pods, you can switch between flavors in seconds. You have a range of delicious flavors to choose from. Just 20 minutes to charge and you're set all day. Plus, it comes with a free limited lifetime device warranty called MyCare. Ready to make the switch? Try MyBlue today at myblue.com.
You made a splash last time you were here. All of our tweets and all of our followers were so excited about you. We have to have you back. You are one of our favorites.
Really?
Thank you so much for joining the show once again, Carrie.
You know what? Here's the deal. Jalen is out, and you needed someone to help. And Jacoby, I'm here for you. We're like best friends.
I appreciate that.
I feel like
I'm disrespected that you only feel like that because I'm positive that we are best friends.
Good. Well, glad. I'm glad to be here. Let's get it started.
Let's get it. Well, Team USA is at a mini camp in Vegas, and one of the duties that they do there is they hire a professional photographer to take professional photos of the roster of Team USA. They take multiple photos, and then they select which photos to distribute. This is the one they selected to distribute of John Wall. This is insane. Now, in case you don't know what John Wall actually looks like in real life, let's take a look at it side by side. That's him last year, and that's him in Vegas with Team USA. Yeah. Carrie, how is this the best photo from the shoot? What do the other ones look like?
Here's what I think. This is there. He perhaps came from the gym, right? Shoot around, and he just grabbed a towel and toweled off really quickly and said, "Let me just take this photo." And because these professional photographers are sometimes intimidated, because people get afraid of you because how famous you are. They were probably intimidated by his fame, and they didn't want to tell him, "You might want to go ahead and not take this photo." You know what I mean?
maybe. I just feel like there's a way that the photographer could have communicated to him to be like, you might not want to look like you're extremely intoxicated and semi-homeless. Like there's probably something that we can do.
And semi-homeless. It happens. I've taken a bad photo, haven't you?
Of course. I don't blame John Wall. I mean, we're going to judge him, we're going to make fun of him, but of course, this has happened to everybody in the world.
Do you think it was medicinal?
He sent this to he was off Twitter, but his mom got a handle of the photo, and he said, quote, "I sent it to my mom and said, it looks like I just got to jail." But
just got to jail.
Yeah, it actually looks like he's been in jail for about 4 years, to be honest with you. It doesn't look like he just got there. It looks like he might have just got there after a rough night. So we took a look at this, and we asked you sort of what you thought the pie chart breakdown of what happened to John Wall was. Yeah. And here were your results. Please walk us through it.
Okay, so the reality is that we've all been to Vegas. I can do 2 nights max. Otherwise, it's just trouble. And so I know from my understanding, they've been there just about 2 nights. I can guarantee, and I know John, I can guarantee he may have gotten it in. And by that, I mean just hanging out in the city with his friends, eating well because his cheeks look full.
They do.
It looks like he may have put on a pound or 2. And he's having a good time. So that's what I'm thinking went down.
That's what I'm thinking too. And I have a confession to make. I'm so washed and I go so hard that I've got it down to 1 night in Vegas is my max. That's where I'm at in my life. I can't do the second night. It just doesn't go well for me at all.
Because Vegas is, God bless that place, but you got to be you got to be a gambler.
Oh yeah.
Are you a gambler? Do you gamble?
Oh, hard.
Okay.
The second I get there they have to drag me off the tables to the airport.
Okay, so that's the only reason to go. And then if you want a good buffet, he looks as if he came from
he definitely went to the buffet. He definitely looked like he went to the. When you said he came from the gym, I was like, he came from talking to a guy named Jim?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he came from the gym, to be honest with you. The Wizards are looking over his contract and be like, is there anything in here about taking a photo where you look like you're 50 pounds overweight and medicinal?
There is. I had just got a text from a friend. There's a new buffet called The Gym. So that's what I was
yeah, that's definitely where he was.
The Gym. Mm-hmm.
Well, Twitter has had their way with John Wall because of this photo, and it's probably unfair, but we're still going to make fun of him.
Of course.
But Kevin Durant is also running into some problems on Twitter. Obviously, there's the famous burner accounts going back and forth with a teenage analyst, and then we have the latest with him and CJ McCollum. Well, he addressed it all, and he said, quote, "I mean, I know y'all trying to make me look crazy and discredit me and strip me of my credibility, but I see what you're doing, but I'm going to still keep standing." Now, Carrie, I wanted to talk to you about this because while I was preparing for the show today, I had an epiphany. Okay. I said to myself, I used to make fun of Kevin Durant for this. I used to not understand this. But at this point, I find him actually sympathetic. I feel bad for Kevin Durant. I feel like he's like, hey man, I'm just people are slandering my name, and every once in a while I respond to them on Twitter, and now all of a sudden I'm a crazy person that's insecure. Do you feel that at this point that it's kind of the backlash has gotten so bad that Kevin Durant is now a sympathetic figure?
No. And wait, so you feel sorry for him? I want to make sure I heard you right. You feel
I do.
In what way?
I feel like the way that people view him, and now the new word people are using is insecure for him, and like, oh, he's so insecure he won't stay with the Warriors. It's like he's not insecure. He's just reading the comments, and every once in a while you get upset about them. I'm sure you have, and you want to fire back. He just indulges that impulse, and I don't think there's anything so wrong about him. I don't think that means much about his character, and like I think that people now judge him in a way that's unfair due to his actions, which are just a couple tweets.
Okay, so he didn't used to fire back. I do remember that, right? He didn't fire back a lot when he was in OKC.
Not from his account.
Not from his, yeah, exactly. To our knowledge, right?
Yes,
But, okay, a couple of times that he's fired back, like when he went back and forth in the DMs with one guy and said, you're a bad Stephen A., that was funny. Like, I knew he was just having fun with that kid.
Yes.
But from personal experience, I will tell you, and I like Kevin. I think he's a great guy, and I don't have any beef with him. But I think that Kevin takes things a little too personal, and as does every athlete. There's not one athlete that doesn't remember when you say something bad about them, because they will remind you when you meet them. But I remember the one time I went on the Twitter and said that I would, not even Twitter, it was on a show. It was on SportsCenter, and I said I just wouldn't pick him because he didn't have enough heart for me. Do you remember I got roasted? There were think pieces written about me. They were like, how dare she? She's a girl. Get back in the kitchen. Who's this woman?
Of course.
And that was, and 6 months later he left. And he went to the Golden State. And here's my thought. When that happened, everyone wanted to talk so bad about him. He was a cupcake. He was this. He was that. And in my mind, I was like, I wasn't even saying he was a cupcake. I was just like, I want somebody who's a killer. And Kevin understood that. So Kevin, in my opinion, is such a superstar, Jacoby, that you can't do that. It's almost like Oprah responding to everything on Twitter. I'm not comparing him to Oprah, but when you're such a superstar,
yes, you are.
Well, I guess I am. You can't, look, do you respond to every single thing? You're Jacoby. You're Jacoby.
I'm so skeptical of everything on Twitter that I don't even respond to like compliments. Like even people that say nice things to me, I'm like, maybe they're just trying to entrap me when I say something nice back to them, then they're going to respond with something else. Like I don't respond to many people on Twitter. But again, I'm not everybody, but I don't judge Kevin Durant so much for doing so. I think that he was probably just a little emotionally scarred from the backlash of his decision to go to Golden State, that he's been trying to sort of like get that back. I feel like he wants to be loved more than he is. He's just not at peace with the fact that some people are going to judge him for that. Some people are going to think that was soft, like CJ McCollum does, and he just needs to let it go.
He needs to let it go. And everybody likes him. But the thing about you saying he's a great guy. You ever meet him? Like, he's a great guy. No one dislikes him. But look at LeBron. Remember how we used to get so mad at him for subtweeting? He stopped because he realized he's too big of a star to do that. He stopped subtweeting.
He did.
If you want Kevin Love to blend in or blend out, go tell him in the locker room. Don't tell me on Twitter.
I love that you just asked me if I've met Kevin Durant. I don't drive this dude around in Ubers like you, Carrie Champion. You know, I'm just a little old guy by himself in the studio. I barely met Jalen Rose.
You know what? That's not true.
I meet Kevin Durant.
That is not
I don't
true.
hang out with Kevin Durant.
You are a superstar. Everyone knows you. I will tell you that Kevin Durant told me I was in a sunken place when I said mean things to him. I started rolling. I was like, was I in a sunken place?
That's kind of funny. One of my theories is you can be mean if you're funny. That is kind of funny.
It was funny. I was like, I'll take the hit. It was funny. I didn't tweet about it. I laughed. Ha ha ha.
Kevin Durant's too tall to be in the sunken place.
Yeah, right. This is true.
Okay, well, do you remember when your Los Angeles Lakers were going to get not just LeBron James, but LeBron James and Paul George and Magic Johnson? And it was going to be such a no-brainer that Magic Johnson was there. And then, we got LeBron and Paul George, and then they were going to win a championship, no problem, new super team. Well, that didn't really happen. And Paul George, also at the Team USA camp, not taking weird photos, but did have a response to did have an explanation for his reasoning behind why he stayed in OKC. Let's listen.
I went to war. I went to battle. We made the playoffs. We was in the hunt. We stuck together all year long. You never heard of any turmoil, regardless how we were playing in the locker room. You never heard of anything. We built a real brotherhood there, and I didn't want to walk away from that. Just playing one year.
Gary, he didn't want to walk away from the brotherhood that he built in OKC. What do you think about his statement?
I don't know. Is it the money?
You're salty.
Yeah,
You're salty.
I am.
You're a little salty about this still.
I am. And
You're a little salty about this still.
I think there's a couple of things there. I think that Russ is a great guy, and he does enjoy him. But I also think he wanted his money. I do believe that as well. And I do believe maybe he didn't want to play under the bright lights of a guy named LeBron James. Maybe he was like, nah, I can wait. Like, I don't know. I don't have any answers.
Listen, I understand you're still flustered by this.
I am.
But you do have LeBron James, and we have some news about your new king of Los Angeles.
Tell me.
One of the pilots for a Spring Hill Entertainment LeBron James vehicle called The Shop. The Shop is LeBron James and other notable personalities. Big shout to Paul Rivera, one of his guys.
Love Paul.
Getting together and just chopping it up inside of a barbershop.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and HBO thought it was so fun. And they're like, wait, Carrie Champion's involved?
Yeah, Durant.
Carrie Champion's involved? Okay, we are greenlighting that. It's now going to be an HBO show. But let's look at a clip from the latest from The Shop.
I still regret giving my 14-year-old my name because of that.
Right.
Like, when I was younger, obviously, I didn't have a dad. So my whole thing was like, whenever I have a kid, not only is it going to be a junior, I'm going to do everything that this man didn't do.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They're going to experience things that I didn't experience. The only thing I can do is give them the blueprint, and it's up to them to take their own course whenever that time happens.
What do you think about the fact that LeBron James regrets giving his firstborn son his full name?
I understand that. I think that it's weird that, not even weird. Richard Sherman, I remember interviewing him after he won the Super Bowl, and his fiance, now wife, was pregnant, and then later on she ended up having a baby. I said, are you naming the baby after you? He was like, why would I do that? Why would I put that on him?
It's a good point.
He said, I was like, but you're Richard Sherman. It's legacy. You pass it on. He's like, no, they don't need that. He was already in that mindset, and obviously he had a child much later in life than LeBron did, but he was already in the mindset of, I don't want people to judge you by who I am, or when you walk in a room, or put unnecessary expectations on you, because that is life. People can't manage expectations when they hear your name is LeBron. Like, there's just no way that's going to happen. So I get why he regrets it, but I don't think he'd change that decision if he had to do it all over again. I think he'd still name his son Bronny.
So here's a question for you, Carrie, because I believe that you were at one of these shoots. How come no one's getting a haircut?
Okay, wait. Can I say something?
Why are we in a barbershop? No one's getting a haircut. I was like, Jon Stewart looks like he needs a cut.
Listen, when I went in, it was some heavy hitters. That looked to me that one the clip was some real heavy hitters in there, and they were sitting around. And when I tell you, it was like this show, just having fun and spitting a lot of game and putting people on game. And I was so overwhelmed by what I was listening to because it was real. They were getting a haircut. LeBron's hair was like you remember the movie Coming to America, and they faked it was like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also, as a producer, there's the sound of the buzzers would just ruin everything.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean? Like, it's an audio problem. It's an audio issue. But they'll still be in the barbershop. We totally understand it.
Yeah. And they weren't drinking wine in this one. The episode I was in, they were drinking wine.
Oh, let me guess. You didn't have any wine.
I would never have.
Never.
I can't recall. Oh, yeah.
Well, Carmelo Anthony, I'm sure at some point will show up on The Shop.
I'm sure.
Now, it looks like he's going to show up on the Rockets. Well, we all remember when he said that he wouldn't come off the bench. Now, let's see what he says about that now. He said, quote, I know how to play this game of basketball. I've been playing it for a long time. When I feel like I'm ready to take that role, then I'll take that role. Only I know when it's best for me to take that role. I'm not going to do that in a situation where I still know my capabilities and what I can do. At the end of the day, the people who really matter know my capabilities and what I can still do. Carrie Champion, one thing about that he said, I know when it's time for me to take that role. But something tells me that he's not going to be the one making this decision. Do you think Carmelo Anthony has accepted his sort of new role and his new place in the National Basketball Association?
You know, I was asking someone about this the other day because I thought maybe it was his ego and that he just can't really accept the fact that he has all his best friends, his Banana Boat crew. They all are seemingly excelling in some other way, and people are always forgetting about Melo, and what about Melo, and he's not a champion, et cetera, ampersand. Neither is Chris, but whatever. My point is that he has his game adjusted, because to me, he still is one of these great players. But is he willing to make the adjustments needed to be made to still be a starter? Has he worked on this other aspect of his game?
There's also this. If I was him and someone asked me about coming off the bench, I'd be like, listen, Dwayne Wade's being asked about playing in China, okay? So one thing I do know is I will be playing in the 48 states, okay? Like, I'll be here, all right? So coming off the bench, fine. At least I don't have to learn another language and fly 12 hours to get to my next game.
Yeah, commercial. You know, because these kids would not like that, huh? Yeah, no.
Exactly.
No, I think he's great. I really hate to see everyone piling on him. But you know what the story is that we forgot, and I just, you don't have to go deep. But didn't Phil Jackson tell us this? And we let Phil have it. Didn't Phil say it was time for him to move on? He should not be in New York? And was like, Phil's so rude. The way he did it was rude. But Phil might have been right. Huh?
Might have been.
Yeah.
Well, Phil wasn't really right about giving him a no-trade clause. I'll tell you that.
Okay, you're right. That's fair.
Someone who did get traded is Kawhi Leonard. And Kawhi Leonard sort of has a very, a tumultuous relationship with the city of San Antonio. And the San Antonio Express News posted a story, and in the story, they said that it was in the All-Star game in Toronto. Kawhi Leonard and his camp were upset because the cars that he was traveling in were not as nice as the cars that Russell Westbrook was traveling in. Do you believe that this is fact, that he was mad because he was in Uber X and Westbrook was in Uber Black? Or is this just the local city that he used to play for being petty?
Petty. I doubt if he even cared. This guy still has his Suburban from high school. Remember, we've talked about that?
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, cars. He's not a car guy.
He's not a car guy. Get out of here. He eats Wingstop. He doesn't care.
Ready for a premium multivitamin that actually makes you feel better? Choose GNC. Our in-house science team combines nutrients and ingredients to deliver products that work. That means a multivitamin blend shown to work better than a basic multi. That means the highest quality formulas for your age, gender, and lifestyle. Not all multivitamins are created equal. Choose a premium GNC multivitamin that's clinically proven to make you feel better. Save 30% on all GNC multivitamins in-store and online Thursday through Saturday. Exclusions apply. See associate for details. Study results based on 6 weeks of use.
Well, Diamond DeShields of the WNBA's, the Chicago Sky, was asked about their big win over the Mercury when her teammate, Gabby Williams, had this to say.
It's just nice, to get a win on the road before break. Hey, is your rash okay?
Carrie, I always say you can be mean if you're funny. Is that funny enough to be that mean?
That was great. Hey, is your rash okay? I'm just checking in. No.
It was perfect. Is your rash okay is perfect.
Yeah, because it's a real friend. I mean, because before we started the show, how did I start? What did I say to you?
Is my rash okay?
Exactly.
And I was like, what are you talking about? How do you even know? So here's my question. And this is what really, but at the core of this video is this question. I really want to get your answer on this. Do you think she made up the rash, or is the rash real and she just brought it up at the wrong time?
I want to say both, because she looked at her like, oh, that was funny, and you really know I got a foot rash. I'm hoping it's a foot rash. She was there like,
yes.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay.
We always say we give the people what they want. Part of that is taking their voicemails and their tweets. We got a tweet from Gino. Gino Ruffino has a question for you, Carrie. Okay. Do people give you crap about being a fan of the Lakers and UCLA and being a sports broadcaster?
Of course they do, but the first and foremost, the reason why we even do what we do,
exactly,
is because we're fans. Like, of course they give me crap, and like, you want to know how much I care?
0%?
-0.00%. I am always a fan. That's why I love what I do for a living. I'm a lucky fan with a job that happens to be objective.
It's also like, have you ever sat in the press box or the press area at a basketball game?
Sure.
It's like, I'm really supposed to act like I'm not enjoying this? Like, I'm really supposed to act like that dude just didn't jump 4 feet in the air and dunk it on somebody? Like, I'm just supposed to act like a robot that's not impressed by that? I can't cheer? I understand why you can't drink. That makes perfect sense to me. But like, the idea that you can't cheer, that you're supposed to be so above everything, that you can't be passionate about this sport that you cover. I understand that you're at work, you have to be somewhat professional, but if someone jumps in the air and dunks on another human being, I'm going to let out a yelp. I cannot not do it. And then I'm also going to get side eyes from the people around me, which is why I don't do the press box thing anymore.
Well, I get over the press box because they're so. I will tell you this. This is interesting. Don't you feel for such a career that we have in sports where there's so much energy and excitement, it's extremely conservative? Do you feel that way sometimes? That's why when you're in that press box, it's very conservative, and you're like, well, that's just, to me, polar opposite of what we should be doing, because we're talking about superhumans who are doing crazy, unnatural things.
It's also everyone else's escape. It's everyone else what they look forward to so much. It's where they get to express themselves and show emotion and passion and be fans in this high energy environment. For me, I'm sensitive to that. It's contagious for me. Like when I'm in big groups of excited people, like I always root for the home team whenever I go to sporting events. Like I don't care who they're playing, just because I like the group vibe. Yeah. And the idea that this is supposed to be like my most intense, serious part of my day, it just doesn't jive with the way I feel.
Yeah, and I don't work well under rigid circumstances. I like to, be me.
That's why you like this show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I love this show. Thank you very much.
Carrie Champion is here. We always say we give the people what they want. Part of giving the people what they want is listening to our voicemails. You sound like Amigos ad-lib there. Keep doing that. Yeah. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us voicemails. Reggie was very excited about this voicemail.
Okay.
Reggie was very excited about this.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Shout out to Reg. Shout out to the whole crew. Shout out to Miss Carrie Champion. She's from Pasadena, you know what I'm saying? Mirror High School, representing them Stains. But this question is for Carrie. I wanted to know, when was the last time you went to a ski tussle? You guys, I know Jacoby, you don't know what this is. It's a Pasadena thing. You wouldn't understand. Only Carrie can explain this to you guys. So, Carrie, when the last time you been to a turkey tussle? And how about the Mustangs? Always. Pasadena. Bulldogs don't want nothing with this. So that's about it. And yup. But
you know what? Okay, so first of all,
there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I like when he was like, Jacoby don't know nothing about this. I was like, good, because I'm hosting the show and I have no idea what a turkey cussle is. A herky cussle? A herky bustle? What?
It's called a turkey tussle, 2 T's.
Oh, turkey tussle. Okay.
And I went to Pasadena High School, not John Muir. And so he obviously went to John Muir High School.
He's faded.
Yeah,
he said it at the end. He's like, yep, medicinal.
Yeah, yep, medicinal. I thought that was great because that took me back. I'm from Dina. I represent Dina all day long. I don't think that most people know. Shout out to Reggie, who also is representing as well. And so Turkey Tussle is essentially our Super Bowl in Pasadena. So the two big high schools come together and they play.
On Thanksgiving.
In November. And they play at the Rose Bowl. And usually John Muir always wins because that's where all the great athletes come from. And side note, I do attend the Turkey Tussle. Whenever I get an opportunity, I head home and I attend the Turkey Tussle. Turkey Tussle.
Oh, really?
Say it 15 times. Turkey Tussle. Yeah.
Turkey Tussle. Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it. So are you a bulldog? And he thinks you're a Mustang?
Exactly. Yes. He was like, the Bulldogs don't want none of this. I can't co-sign. I'm going to have to go with the Bulldogs. I can't co-sign, my friend.
Did you play sports in high school?
I ran track, and I have a scar on my shoulder to show you that, the evidence. I did hurdles. The thing is, I don't know if you know this, if you're shorter, you're better for hurdles. Did you know that? I'm extremely long. Yeah.
I did not know that.
You know who is the anomaly, in my opinion, is Usain Bolt. So I'm extremely long, and so my legs can really get over.
Nice. So you think I'm confused. Having long legs is disadvantage in hurdles.
I agree.
Because the long legs are slower, I would imagine.
And your body, your torso, the center of gravity is always off. So like everybody for Allison Felix, for instance, she's not that tall. You know how tall she is?
Yeah.
Maybe 5'7". That's why she's so great. Most decorated woman in track. Gave you an example.
Oh, I'm learning a lot today.
Oh, well, this just
I'm learning a lot
today. This is Turkey Tussle. I'll see you at the next one.
I didn't even know what he said. He didn't say his name either. He was so high he forgot to say his name.
You're like Cussle Cool, the Cussle.
Yeah, I was like, what? One of our associate producers, Uncle Mar, hit us up on Twitter, and he's got a question for you.
Sure.
One we asked earlier in the week. We have a segment called Cultural or Regional. It needs no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Mar wants to know, Carrie, do you think New Balances are cultural or regional?
That's a great question. Okay, so can I say something?
Yeah, it's a free space. No judgments.
I own a pair of New Balance.
Oh, good. We've got some data. Now we've got some hard data.
So.
Did you buy them? Did you pay hard-earned money for them?
I did. That's the thing. I bought them at what was known as the Fox Hills Mall here in L.A.
I'm familiar.
You are familiar. I bought them from the store that has all these great kicks, and they were so adorable. I was like, oh my God, let me get them. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go both. Can you do both?
Yes, Universal is the other answer.
Universal.
There's universal and medicinal, cultural, regional. It's actually a long segment title. We just broke it down to cultural.
I'm gonna go Universal. I'm going Universal. Do you own a pair of New Balance?
I've never, ever owned a pair of New Balance. Ever in my life. And I'm from Massachusetts, which is where they're from, too.
Oh, boy.
I've seen some dope New Balances. But
right.
I've seen them. They're out there.
Yeah.
I just never worn them myself.
Okay, Universal.
Another one of our associate producers, Matthias, shout out to him.
Shout out.
He's in Denmark. Here's a question for you. I hate to put people on the spot, but this is one of my intellectual blind spots.
Okay.
If you're from Denmark, you're a Dane?
Oh, that's great.
I think so. What are you called if you're from Denmark? I'm going to say you're Danish.
Yeah, you're
right?
Danish, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say you're Danish.
And if you're from the Netherlands, then you are...
That's good. I feel like I should Google that.
No, the producer just said you're Dutch. That's the one that always trips me up. It's like a Netherlander.
Okay, so you're Dutch if you're from the Netherlands.
You're Dutch. Okay, well, the Great Dane Matthias, he said, is rosé wine cultural or regional or universal?
No, I'm going to go universal. And I'll say this. When I once went out with a guy back in the day and I called myself being sophisticated, I was like, I'll take the rose.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I'll take the rose.
One of my boys who's, I believe, first generation, we went out to...
first generation.
We went out to get some Chinese food, and he went to the waiter, and he was ordering. He pointed at the menu, did that thing where he pointed at the menu. He goes, I would like the sea-red dumplings, please. The sea-red dumplings, please. Thank you very much. The sea-red ones.
Listen.
I want those.
Listen, you never catch me slipping like that again. What I do now is just say, and how do you pronounce this? If I don't know, I'm going to ask. You're not going to catch me slipping no more. I'd like the rose. Gotcha, the rose.
Do you know what everyone got mad at me for yesterday?
Why?
Again, back to Chinese food. I like the mushu. People don't really order mushu too much. It's an excellent dish, and it comes with those, like, tortillas.
Yeah.
And they called, on the menu, they didn't call them tortillas. They said Chinese crepes.
Or is it crepe?
Yeah, and then everyone got mad at me for calling them crepes, and they're like, it's crepe. Like, no. Crepe, it would be spelled like grape. This is crepe, because in French you say crepe. Is it wrong? Now am I overpronouncing? Soft move or boss move, calling a crepe a crepe?
That's a boss move.
Thank you very much.
That's a boss move, because you're not even worried about what anybody
thinks. We're just going to replace Jalen with you. He got enough jobs already.
He got 20,000 jobs.
Before we go, I do want to ask you about Sports Nation. Lost Marcellus. How much better is the show now that Marcellus is gone? Let's be honest.
Let me tell you, Marcellus brought this energy, and again, it's like anything, like any relationship. You don't appreciate it till it's gone. Marcellus brought this great energy, and he was so sweet and so loving, and so nothing ever faded him. And I phased him or faded him, because he's a fighter.
Good point. Hydration situation.
It's a hydration situation. And then what I did notice was that I used to be like, you're yelling. Stop yelling. But I miss the yelling in studio. I just miss it.
Yeah. I mean, he's a wonderful person to be around. I met him a long time ago when I was only producing, and I remember we would just have conversations like, if a show wasn't, if we needed something, if something needed to get kicked up a notch, or you couldn't figure out what was wrong with the segment, just add Marcellus and it'll be fine.
That's the truth of the matter with an F. Do you understand what I'm saying?
The truth?
Two
F's. Can we put two F's on there?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter.
That's the truth of the matter.
Before that voicemail, Reggie was like, we only need one voicemail. It's the greatest voicemail ever. It's just about Pasadena, Reg.
Yeah, Reg.
That was definitely his homeboy, because we didn't really announce that you were going to be on the show until like 6 hours ago. Reggie definitely called his homeboy, and his homeboy was so high that he called in the show.
Reggie is such a homer. He is such a homer, and I appreciate it. Reggie, do you have another drop for us? Because I'm not. You are a homer.
We don't see what happens is we don't allow Reggie to speak on the show, so he just speaks through the soundboard.
Reggie,
we have another controversy that came up earlier this week via voicemail, and I wanted to get your take on it.
Okay, tell me.
Cultural or regional?
Uh-oh.
Washing meat before you cook it.
Oh, that's definitely cultural. Because I'm washing everything. I'm not going to just open up some meat and start cooking.
Yeah, so we've gotten some feedback since we did this topic, and people are telling us that it's African and Caribbean families do this. My wife is Jamaican. They don't wash meat.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, I wash meat, and I'm African American. I wash all meat.
Nice.
Yeah, just in case you didn't know.
Oh, I like what you did there. I'm African American, not African American.
Yes.
I like what you did there. I'm African American.
Yeah,
We're not African American.
Yes, you heard how we do it.
I think I just came up with a new phrase.
And I can wash my meat.
Yes. And then we also did some research, and the people that look like me on the staff are like, well, technically, if you wash your meat, you're exposing your sink to different germs that you may not want.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. That was a good answer. That's why I don't wash my meat.
Yeah, right. Exposing. Okay, if not, this raw meat we're eating doesn't have germs in it already, but that's fine. I mean, that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, no, I do. I think you should, because it's just, you know what? Do you wash your like, say if you go to the cupboard and you want a glass of water, you take a glass down. Do you wash that, or do you just immediately pour water in there without rinsing?
Immediately pour water in there.
Really?
Immediately pour water in there.
You
and
don't
not only that, is sometimes if I drink a glass of water, I'll say to myself, I just basically washed it. So I don't even have to wash it again because it was just water in there in the first place.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. And I'll put it right back in the cupboard.
Wait a second.
See, my wife does listen to this podcast, so it's all good.
Wait a second. What are you doing? Why don't you rinse it?
It's just water. If it was like orange juice, then there's orange juice and sugars on there. It needs to be washed out. But if it's just water, no problem.
So
light work.
Wait a second. So do you when you don't feel like you're this guy that when you don't feel like getting a glass, you just drink straight from the jar of orange juice, if you will, the jug of juice?
And the thing is, and I hide behind the refrigerator door and do it because I don't want my kids to see. Because then they're going to think they can do it too. So, and I'm tall, so my head goes above the refrigerator door, so I have to bend down. So I have to like crouch down like Tim Tebow or Colin Kaepernick, and then drink the juice straight out the bottle, and then put it back so my kids don't see. Because if my kids see, they'll be like, "Daddy, why aren't you drinking from the thing?" And then they'll try to do it, but they're all little and they'll drop it everywhere. It'll be a mess.
Why don't we just get a glass? Doesn't that sound...
Because I'm lazy. Because you get a glass...
That sounds like more work.
No. Because you get a glass, you got to pour it in there, and then the glass stays around. You got to wash the glass and run the dishwasher. I just want some apple juice.
Just a quick swig of apple juice.
Yeah, not until you're a parent do you drink apple juice. There's no apple juice in your fridge. There's none. No, there's no reason for apple juice until you got kids. The next thing you know, you're drinking apple juice. And one thing you learn, this is how sad it gets when you're a parent. You start making cocktails with things you shouldn't be making cocktails.
You're like, I'll have some gin and apple juice.
Exactly. Yes. Oh, I wish I had gin. I'll do straight bourbon and apple juice. Like it gets tough out there.
It's tough
out there. And the next day, Pedialyte.
I'm laughing because my girlfriend who has kids, when I go over her house, I'm like, you don't have no mixers? Okay, well, what is this?
Mixers.
I was just like, dang, all right, I'll try this apple juice. With
no mixers. I was looking at the milk one day like,
can I?
Like, what's in a White Russian again? Vodka and milk? Like, I can make like a skinny White Russian? Something like that?
Absolutely not.
I didn't do it.
Good.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Then I just put the vodka on ice at that point.
No, you just got to go hard to paint because there's nothing available.
You got to. Carrie, I want to thank you so much for joining the show. I want to thank everybody that tweeted us. I want to thank that super high dude in Pasadena for giving us a voicemail.
Shout out to
You're
Bulldog.
welcome to come back anytime. We really appreciate it. Everybody enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday with another show. Why is that, KRS?
Done. We're not done. We're not done. Got to give the people time. Give people what they want.
Allie's mom knew she had a strong kick even back in the womb. And from then on, Allie was always kicking a ball and saying she was going to play pro soccer. And one day, while she was kicking a ball against a wall, her skills drew even more attention. Her boss said, "Could you please stop that and get me those quarterly numbers I asked for?" Turns out Allie just wasn't that good at soccer. But she was a good accountant. That's why she switched to Geico. She knew they could save her a bunch of money on car insurance. And she sure wasn't ever going to make that pro soccer money. No, sir.